Naruto, God-level system author, Blue Water God. Chapter 116 Yanren surrenders. This is the Five Tails. Why did the Five Tails appear here? 3 generations of Ryukyuji looked at the roaring Five Tails in confusion. Hatake Tsukumo's face was even more anxious. The Five Tails appeared behind Konoha. If they attacked them, they would suffer heavy casualties. This, Naruto and the 3 were dumbfounded. This is my psychic beast. How is it? It's not bad, right? Ryukyuji said complacently. Although in the real battle, the Five Tails can't help at all, but the effect of pretending to be good is good, and now the expressions of Naruto and the others make Ryukyuji very satisfied. Ryukyuji picked up Xiaonan and stood on top of Yui's head. Five Tails, send a tailed beast cannon to the front. Ryukyuji ordered to Yui. Faced with the tone of Ryukyuji's order, he was very unhappy, but he did not dare to resist Ryukyuji's order. According to the ratio of yin and yang 2:8, the tailed beast chakra is gathered, and then forms a high-speed rotating energy bomb. After the energy bomb shrinks, it is swallowed by the Five Tails, and then ejected in a straight line. The tail beast cannon struck in the direction of Yanren, and the speed was so fast that it caused a sonic boom. Not good. Looking at the direction of the tail beast cannon, the 3 generations of Ryukyuji were shocked. 11 This was clearly attacking their Yanren. The 3 generations of Ryukyuji, who had seen the power of the tail beast cannon, knew that if they were hit by the tail beast cannon, their Yanren would definitely suffer heavy casualties. The 3rd Ryukyuji was very decisive, and rushed to the front in an instant, colliding with the tail beast cannon of the Five Tails. After a stalemate for a while, the tail beast gun was finally blocked by the 3rd Ryukyuji. However, the explosion of the tail beast cannon still caused a lot of casualties to Yanjin, who was closer, and the 3rd generation of Ryukyuji couldn't hold on, and fell to the ground. If it is the 3rd generation of Ryukyuji in its heyday, it can definitely easily form a tailed beast cannon with 5 tails, and it will not be so embarrassing. But the current 3 generation Ryukyuji has been seriously injured by the rock giant, and now he can block the tail beast cannon, but also rely on the perseverance in his heart. The tail beast cannon was the last straw that overwhelmed the 3 generations of Ryukyuji. Ryukyuji, despicable villain, can't you tell me what to do? AI immediately came to the side of the 3 generations of Ryukyuji and helped him up. Hey Tilda, you also believe the enemy's words. I have to say that you are really naive. And I didn't shoot. It was my psychic beast. Ryukyuji said with a sneer. How could the 5 tails become your psychic beast? 3 generations of Ryukyuji pushed away AI who was supporting him and stood in the middle of the battlefield with difficulty. Why should I tell you? Ryukyuji sat on Yui's body and yawned. 3 generations of Ryukyuji's face was as gloomy as water, and now he was caught in a dilemma. If you choose to continue to attack, there is a tiger in front of you, Ryukyuji. If you retreat, you have to be prepared for whether Ryukyuji will attack them. Surrender. Do you think you Yanren can still hold on? Surrender is the best choice for you, Ryukyuji said lightly. The 3 generations of Ryukyuji remained silent. He was unwilling to surrender like this. Surrender is not just as simple as talking about it. The loser has to compensate. No one will choose to surrender as long as they can't support it, because they can't afford to hurt. Looking at the hesitant 3rd generation Ryukyuji, Ryukyuji shook his head. Those who can't see the truth are the most stupid. Knowing that there is no chance of victory, he didn't hurry to think about minimizing the loss. Instead, he wanted to make a comeback. I don't know if it was greedy enough to swallow the elephant, or it was really stupid. Give you 2 choices, either choose to surrender, or die here. Ryukyuji said in a flat voice. I want to make us surrender. Wishful thinking. My Yanren's ninja will die in vain. AI shouted loudly. Do you think you're so good if you have a loud voice? Life and death, you choose. Ryukyuji glanced at AI who was yelling with disdain, and said in a flat voice. The 3 generations of Ryukyuji looked at the indifferent Ryukyuji with a wry smile on his face. Looking at Ryukyuji's current posture, do they still have a choice? It is impossible to choose not to surrender, and then fight with Ryukyuji to the end. The losses are far more serious than surrender. We Yanren surrendered. 3 generations of Ryukyuji said this sentence with a sigh. At this time, the 3rd generation of Ryukyuji was tall and strong, slightly hunched, and his body was a lot older. Father, do we just surrender like this? The revenge of the dead Yanren brothers, is it just forgot? AI shouted reluctantly. Alas. 3 generations of Ryukyuji sighed, and then said earnestly, AI, as the shadow of the village, we must focus on the overall situation. AI lowered his head and said nothing. He knew that the current situation was very clear. As long as Ryukyuji shot, they would have no room to fight back. Surrender is the best choice now, but he is not reconciled and sacrificed so many people. When they came out, they were full of fighting spirit, but when they went back, they lost most of the ninjas who trusted them, which made him swallow this breath. There is no way to explain this to the villagers in the village! Yanren all bowed his head, and while he was relieved, he was also very confused. On the contrary, Konoha, they did not expect that Yanren surrendered like this. But then it was ecstasy. Waving his arms, there was laughter, and even some excited tears flowed out. More than a year of war has made them disgusted with war. No one wants to see a brother who is still laughing and laughing one second, falling into eternal sleep the next moment. While people yearn for interests, and do not even hesitate to start wars because of interests, they are also afraid and abhorred of wars. It has to be said that human nature is the most contradictory. Now that Yan Ren surrendered, even White Fang, who had always been serious, showed a tired smile. Continuously fighting against Yan Ren, especially if he had to hold back the 3 generations of Raikage, Hatake Tsukumo was the most exhausted in this battlefield. Now that Yan Ren surrendered, he was relieved. After the 3 generations of Raikage surrendered, he retreated with Yan Ren, and then handed over the surrender agreement to Konoha the next day. Seeing the surrender agreement submitted by Yan Ren, Hatake Tsukumo frowned. Although Yan Ren surrendered, he did not intend to compensate Konoha much, and the compensation amounted to tens of millions of kills. He was simply sending beggars. Tens of millions of kills at most is the material money for a small-scale war, and it is nothing at all. This Yan Ren is too much. We must not let them go. He dares to threaten us, so what if we start another war? Yuakai said angrily. Yan Ren finally said that if he didn't accept it, he would start the war again. It was too much. A loser dared to threaten them. If there is another war, don't look for me. Rixianchan glanced at the surrender letter, then turned and left. Helping them to surrender. Yan Ren is already in a good mood for Rixianchan. If he fights against Yan Ren again because of interests, Rixianchan will not be a nanny. Chapter 117 Rain quits. Seeing Rixianchan leaving, the people in the tent fell silent. If Rixianchan didn't take action, would they be able to defeat Yan Ren? White Fang, you are the commander-in-chief here. It is up to you to decide whether to accept the surrender or not, said the Naruto chief. Yes, you are the coach. We listen to you. You are the commander here. Make your decision. Everyone gave the opportunity to make a choice to Hatake Tsukumo. After all, Hatake Tsukumo is the coach here, and it is natural for Hatake Tsukumo to make up his mind about such undecided matters. Hatake Tsukumo was also undecided, and after a long silence he said, let's leave this matter to the 3 generations of Hokage to decide. After Hatake Tsukumo finished speaking, everyone nodded. Afterwards, Hatake Tsukumo quickly passed the news to Hinzen Sarutobi and waited for the decision of Hinzen Sarutobi. However, these have nothing to do with Rixianchan. At this time, Rixianchan has now left the battlefield and appeared in Taki Ninja Village. The purpose is naturally for Nanao, and now Rixianchan has stepped on the waste Nanao. What waste? Rixianchan got the Nanao chakra he wanted, and Nanao, who couldn't fly no matter how he was lying on the ground, pulled Xionan and turned away. Now Rixianchan has all the chakras in his hands except the 3-tailed and 6-tailed chakras. As long as the chakras of the 9-tailed beasts are collected, Rixianchan can try to summon the dragon. It is an attempt to merge into a 10-tailed chakra. What? Rixianchan killed Yan Ren 3,000 ninjas. Now Yan Ren is about to surrender, and Ui was caught by Rixianchan as a psychic beast. Onama stood up, the red wine nose turned even redder, and there was an angry look on his face. Ui was actually taken away by Rixianchan, and Onama's heart was going to go wrong. The faces of Sandai Kazukage and Sanshou Hanzo also darkened. What do we do now? Yan Ren's group of idiots surrendered. What should we do? Hanzo asked while looking at the two of them. Hanzo, you are also the leader of a village. Can you always ask others if you have something, so you can't use your own brain? What did you say? Are you calling me brainless? Hanzo picked up the sickle next to him and stood up. The atmosphere at the scene solidified, and the momentum of Onogi and Hanzo collided. Enough. If you want to fight, you can do whatever you want after the war, but for now, please focus on the overall situation. Sandai Kazukage stood up and stood in front of Onogi and Hanzo. If it wasn't for Sharon himself who couldn't stand the pressure of Konoha, the 3 generations of Kazukage wouldn't have done such a thankless thing. Even if Onogi and Hanzo were out of their minds, the 3 generations of Kazukage didn't take a second look, but now they are grasshoppers on a rope. If Onogi and Hanzo really fight, their fragile alliance will also be dissolved, and they will not be far from surrendering. On Fenning's face, I'll let you go today. Don't think that you have the title of a demigod. You can stare at me, but you are the leader of a small village. Onama said disdainfully. Others may be afraid of Hanzo, but he is not afraid at all. If you have the ability, come and block my dust escape. Hanzo held the scythe and wanted to wave it, but the 3 generations of Kazukage, who responded quickly, stopped Hanzo immediately. This is the headquarters, not the place where you quarreled. Now the situation is so severe, you still have the heart to quarrel. Sandai Fenning scolded. I know that you look down on my Uran village and think we are a small village. Today I will quit Hanzo. Hanzo smashed the table with a palm and shouted loudly. Anyway, Hanzo was fed up with bird anger here. These 2 guys were allies on the surface, but when did they give him a good face? We look arrogant and despise in front of him all day long. We should be despised by you because we are a small village. What did you say? Believe it or not, I will take Yamen to destroy your Uran village now. Onogi said with an angry face. He destroying my Uran village. You are also worthy of it. What are you pretending to be in front of me? If you really have the ability, Go and pretend in front of Ruxiangchen. Hanzo sneered and sneered. Hanzo, don't go too far. 3 generations of Kazkage said coldly. I'm too much? It's you who are too much. Today I left with urine. I see who of you dares to stop me. Hanzo's expression was cold, and the murderous aura in his eyes raged. Hanzo is known as a demigod in the ninja world. Naturally, he has a few brushes. Just because of the poison in his body, he cannot be blocked by ordinary people. Hanzo, are you serious? Sandai Kazkage's face became worse and worse. That's right. It's impossible to win in the current situation, and there is no need for us urine to be cannon fodder for you. Hanzo was extremely determined. Every time they go to war, urine was sent to be the vanguard, and Hanzo was already dissatisfied. However, there was still hope of victory before, and Hanzo could barely endure it. But now it is impossible to win, and their urine quit as soon as possible, and preserving their strength is the best choice. Hanzo left without hesitation, and no one stopped him. What Onogi said before about destroying Uran Village was actually an angry word. If Uran Village was easy to destroy, they would not have cooperated with Hanzo in the first place. The news of Uran Village's withdrawal was naturally impossible to hide from Konoha. Sarutobi Hizen, who was still hesitant at first, agreed to Yanren's surrender immediately, letting Hatake Sakuma rush to the battlefield of the Land of Rain as soon as possible, ending it completely. War. Then Sarutobi Hizen dispatched Okimaru and Jiraiya to take 1,000 ninjas to attack Unan village. Hanzo participated in this war. Of course, Sarutobi Hizen would not let him go easily. Sarutobi Hizen never thought of destroying Uran village, but wanted Hanzo to declare his surrender and pay Konoha for war reparations. After that, Sarutobi Hizen took Konoha ninja and attacked Iwa Shinobi and San Shinobi. Onogi and Sandai Kazkage looked at the menacing Konoha, and could only choose to avoid the edge for a while. Rain Shinobi's withdrawal was a huge blow to Iwa Shinobi and San Shinobi. First of all, it was a blow in terms of momentum, and secondly, it was a weakening of strength. Don't look at the fact that Yan'an and Sandan are 2 villages, but there were too many ninjas killed by Xiangchen before, and now the 2 villages together are about the same as Konoha. Moreover, the Konoha ninja on the battlefield of Yun Ninja will also be liberated with the surrender of Yun Ninja, and it is estimated that they will reach the battlefield of the Kingdom of Rain in a few days. When Onogi and Sandai Kazkage saw this scene, they were so worried that their hair turned white. What should I do? Do you want to surrender? Sandai Fenning asked unwillingly. Onogi glanced at Sandai Fenning with dissatisfaction. Could it be that if you surrender, Konoha will easily let you go? Konoha's loss is not small. Even if you surrender, Konoha will bite you hard. It's not that I laugh at you, but the economic situation of your San Ninja village can withstand Konoha's mouth. The 3 generations of Fenning fell silent because of their geographical location. Although the country of the wind was the country with the largest territory, it was not rich at all. If after they surrendered, the Konoha lion opened his mouth, what would they do to resist? Chapter 118 The Nawaki leaves. Sandai Kazkage, who originally had the intention of surrendering, after listening to Onogi's words, he put away the idea of surrendering in his heart. Oyegi was also relieved, and finally managed to fool him. If San Shinobi surrendered, how would they fight against Konoha? In the days that followed, Konoha, Iwa Shinobi, and San Shinobi fought a series of battles. Although Konoha had the advantage, he was unable to win against Iwa Shinobi and San Shinobi. Ruxiangchen and Xiaonan slowly walked towards the battlefield of the Land of Rain. Suddenly, Ruxiangchen stopped. Then Ruxiangchen grabbed Xiaonan's hand, stepped into the space crack, and came to a dim space. Don't be stupid. Looking at the Nawaki like a headless fly, Ruxiangchen said lightly. Sheng Shu turned his head suddenly, with an excited look in his eyes. Chen, why are you here? This is my space. Of course I'm here. Let's go out first. Ruxiangchen put his hand on Sheng Shu's shoulder, and pulled Xiaonan with the other hand, stepping into the space crack again. Utilda. It was so dark that just now. It's better to be outside, Sheng Shu said with a deep breath. Is it calculated? Almost died? Ruxiangchen asked. If it weren't for the danger of Nawaki's life, it would not have touched Gao Danyuan and the space imprint at all. Roshu's expression immediately became ugly, and he said in a low voice, why do people from Konoha attack me? When he was transporting supplies in the rear, he was actually stabbed by his own people. At that time, Sheng Shu was shocked and cold. It's normal. I'm also from Konoha. Didn't I still stab the ninjas of Sarutobi and Shimura families? Hyuga Tatsu said indifferently. Sheng Shu opened his mouth and looked at Ruxiangchen speechlessly. If it was before, Roshu would definitely accuse Ruxiangchen loudly, but now he can't say what he accuses. You have saved your life now. Don't go back to Konoha village, or I won't save you a second time. Ruxiangchen patted the Nawaki on the shoulder and said, Me? What? Do you want to go back and do your Hokage dream? Even if I don't go back to Konoha village, where can I go? Sheng Shu said in confusion. His home is in Konoha, where can he go without Konoha? Ruxiangchen looked at the Nawaki, and then touched his chin. To be honest, Xianchen doesn't know where Ropeshu is going. His strength is that of elite ninja. In the chaotic ninja world, even self-protection is not easy. Why don't you find a remote place first and improve your strength first? If you are strong, you can go wherever you want, even if you go back to Konoha. After thinking for a while, Xianchen suggested, the strength of Shengshu, a rookie, can only be like this. Otherwise, even if he returns to Konoha and stays in the village and never comes out, he is definitely in danger. That guy in Danzo, even if the Nawaki is in the village, he dares to shoot him. But the village, don't do it. The village is going to kill you. The village that is still fighting at this time, you can go by yourself. When I have time, I will take Tsunade to see you. Xianchen waved his hand at the Nawaki. Anyway, there are space coordinates left by Xianchen on Shengshu, so he is not afraid that he will get lost. After hesitating for a long time, Shengshu finally chose to listen to Xianchen, but did not return to Konoha. He still cared very much about Konoha's people who killed him. He must find out who instructed him in the future. If it wasn't for Xianchen's transcription seal, Nawaki would have been stabbed to death by his own people in the back. Even though he loves the village so much and can't stand this situation, this is still the kindness of Shengshu. If it was someone else, they might have thought of killing it and going back to take revenge. Seeing Shengshu leave, Xianchen also pulled Xionan away. Although Shengshu is weak, but the strength of the elite Chunin, as long as he doesn't kill himself, there is usually nothing wrong. Playing all the way, it took more than 10 days before Xianchen took Xiaonan to the battlefield of the Land of Rain. Slowly. After seeing Xianchen, the 3 generations of Hokage and Anzang both looked ashen, and their expressions could not wait to eat him. I didn't expect that I, a small Shangnan, would be so honored that the 3 generations of Hokage actually came to greet me. Xianchen said with a smile. This time, Yunren was able to surrender, thanks to Sun Shangren. The 3 generations of Hokage said with a smile. Hi Xianchen, let me ask you, how did the Sarutobi clan and Ashimura clan die? Danzo's tone was even worse. After Danzo finished the question, the atmosphere fell into silence, no one spoke, and all looked at Xianchen. In the battlefield, it's normal for a few people to die. Does Danzo's assistant need to make such a fuss? Xianchen said flatly. Danzo was choked and speechless, angry and annoyed in his heart. Can he object? Just like what Xianchen said, it is normal for people to die on the battlefield. But when thousands of people die once they die, it is their 2 families who are still alive. Is this normal? All of this is due to Danzo's assistance and leadership. Your Shimura family members are not afraid of death. I tried my best to stop them, but I didn't stop them, causing all the Shimura family members to die in battle. I feel very guilty about this. However, Xianchen said guilt on his lips, but there was no guilt expression on his face, and he even had a smile on his face. Then, ignoring the ugly faces of the 3 generations of Hokage and Danzo, Xianchen walked towards Tsunade, Mikoto and the others. Pulling Tsunade and the others away, they didn't care about Sarutobi Hidden, and the face of the Konoha ninjas who came to greet them. Xianchen is too arrogant. Ignore us at all. After all, he's a teenage kid who doesn't understand politeness at all. I thought he could become Hokage. Now it doesn't seem worthy of him at all. It's just a bit of strength, but he doesn't put anyone in his eyes. I don't think he can be a big one. Konoha's Shangnin has a lot of discussion. Just now, Xianchen didn't look at them at all, which made them very upset. Now, after seeing Xianchen walking away, he began to vent his dissatisfaction. Damn, I'm going to beat them up. Kushina was angry and I clenched my fists. Next to Mikoto, 3 goo appeared in her eyes. These are indeed a bit too much. Tsunade frowned slightly. You don't have to bother with a group of ants. It's meaningless. It will only lower your identity. Xianchen shook his head and said, they only talk about others behind their backs. These people are only so promising in this life, and Xianchen looks down on them at all. Back in the small earth house built by Xianchen himself, Xianchen looked at Tsunade and said, Nawaki has left. Huh? Tsunade first nodded subconsciously, and then reacted after hearing Xianchen's words clearly, looking at Xianchen suspiciously. After that, Xianchen gave a general description of what happened to Shengshu. In fact, Xianchen only knew a general idea, and Shengshu did not say the specific situation. After Xianchen finished speaking, Tsunade surged in anger and smashed the incomparably strong wall with one punch. I'm going to the 3rd generation to ask for an explanation. Tsunade was about to leave angrily. Xianchen reached out and pulled Tsunade back. What do you want to explain? You don't have any evidence to prove that it was the top of Konoha who did it, so it's no use to go. Xianchen said softly. Chapter 119 Time Capability. Don't tell me that. Nawaki almost died. When Grandma was dying, she told me to take good care of Nawaki. The Nawaki almost died this time. This matter must not be forgotten. Tsunade said angrily. Tsunade did not expect that Konoha really dared to attack Nawaki, but luckily there was a means left by Xianchen, otherwise Tsunade would have to blame himself for the rest of his life. The more Tsunade thought about it, the more angry he became. The more he thought about it, and finally he couldn't bear it any longer, and angrily ran to find Sarutobi Hizen to discuss the explanation. Rixianchin looked at Tsunade, who was furious, and followed. Running to the Konoha main headquarters, Tsunade asked Sarutobi Hizen angrily, 3 generations, what's going on with the Nawaki? The 3 generations were startled, and then said with a sad face, you know it all? Hey, I was afraid that you would be sad. But I wanted to hide it from you. Shengshu was a good boy, but unfortunately, he was unlucky. He was attacked by Shanin in the rear, and unfortunately died in battle. Ha. Tsunade sneered twice. If she didn't know the specific situation, she might still believe the rhetoric of the 3rd generation, but hearing this rhetoric now, it feels like listening to a joke. This rhetoric should have destroyed a lot of your brain cells. Tsunade said coldly. Huh? The 3rd Hokage was taken aback. I'll ask you again, what's going on? Who wants to kill Ropeshu, and does it have anything to do with you? Tsunade lowered her head, making her expression unclear. Tsunade, you don't misunderstand anything, do you? Why would someone want to kill the Nawaki? Hey Tsunade laughed. If the 3 generations directly told everything, Tsunade might have forgiven him, but now. Tsunade clenched his fist and attacked the 3rd Hokage, and the speed was so fast that he couldn't dodge at all. Boom. The 3rd Hokage was punched by Tsunade in the front, and was knocked out, and the ribs on his chest were broken into several pieces. Tsunade, you dare to attack Hokage? The ninja guarding the 3 generations of Hokage was stunned for a moment before he reacted, and he took out his ninja gear and looked at Tsunade vigilantly. Tsunade's attack was so sudden that not even the 3 generations of Hokage could react, let alone the guarding ninjas. You geese should sleep quietly for a while. Xianchen, who was behind Tsunade, glanced at them, and a group illusion brought down all these ninjas. 3 generations, the master-disciple relationship between us is completely over today. Tsunade said coldly, and then pulled Rixianchin to turn and leave. Sarutobi Hizen got up in pain and said nothing. He knew that Tsunade had left his hand this time. If he attacked with all his strength, he would have gone to the previous generation to drink tea now. But now Tsunade has completely cut off the teacher-student relationship with him, which is also a blow to Hiruzen. Sarutobi. Danzo. Cough. Sarutobi Hizen couldn't blame Danzo, because he had acquiesced to Danzo's behavior before. Thank you, Chen. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't know how to face my grandma even if I died. The relationship between us, don't you need to say thank you? Do you want to see the Nawaki? After thinking about it for a while, Tsunade shook his head. Forget it, it's all the kid who is not obedient to the Nawaki. This time let him have a long memory, think about it quietly, and come to see him later. 3 years have passed, and Rixianchin has also played soy sauce on the battlefield for 3 years. During these 3 years, he has not killed a single enemy. The same is true for Tsunade. She was completely disappointed with Konoha, but she only helped Konoha to stop Chio, a shadow-level puppet master, which was considered to be her last effort for Konoha. Kushina and Mikoto are the same as Xianchen. The 3 of them are known as the Battlefield Soy Sauce Trio. In the past 3 years, Rixianchin's physical fitness and chakra have shown explosive growth, and his combat effectiveness has also increased linearly. In the past 3 years, what Rixianchin has researched the most is the ability of the Tensogun to control time. In the 3 years, Rixianchin has also achieved a lot of results. Now Rixianchin can instantly accelerate the time within a radius of 50 meters for decades, and can also reverse the time within 5 meters of the surrounding by 10 seconds. This is already very powerful. Time acceleration can instantly deprive the opponent of decades of time, and time reversal is the strongest life-saving magic skill. As long as the time is reversed, in addition to the consumption of pupil power, whether it is the injury, or the consumption of chakra and physical strength, all can return to the state of 10 seconds ago. In the end, the time stop that Rixianchin attaches the most importance to is the key to immortality, and it is also the most studied by Rixianchin. After Rixianchin's unremitting efforts, it is true that the time of an object can be suspended forever, but the suspended object cannot move and maintains the posture when the time was suspended. But this is useless, and it is directly suspended to freeze everything. What is the difference between that and death? In the past 3 years, Rixianchin has not only studied the ability of time, but also how to live forever. After finally passing through once and gaining powerful strength, Rixianchin must not be reconciled to turning into a smudge of Lois after 100 years. So he must find a way to pursue immortality, and his desire for immortality is no less than Okimaru. In the past 3 years, Rixianchin has come up with 3 ways to obtain immortality. One of them is to rely on the ability of time to freeze his own time flow without affecting his own life activities. The other is that, like Kaguya Otsutsuki, he eats the fruit of the tree and becomes 10 tails, gaining the ability to be immortal. The last one is the system. Immortality is just a trivial matter for the system. There are many items in the system store. Among these 3 methods, Rixianchin still prefers the first one, and the second method can only make himself immortal, which was abandoned by Rixianchin first. Go to the system to exchange for items that increase lifespan, but I am sorry that this poor guy can't exchange it. Therefore, The first method is the best. Although it still cannot be successful, Rixianchin has already found the problem. The understanding of time is not enough, and Tensigan's pupil power is not enough. As long as one of these two problems is solved, Rixianchin estimates that he can make people live forever. The understanding of time needs to be taken slowly. This can't be rushed. Now Rixianchin can only start with the pupil power of Tensizen, and the increase of the pupil power of Tensizen will also make Rixianchin better understand time. Although Rixianchin's pupil power is almost endless, it is only close to it, but it is actually a lot worse. There are 3 ways to enhance the pupil power. One is to increase the strength to the 6th realm, then the pupil power of Tensizen will naturally skyrocket, forming a qualitative leap. The second is to grow slowly by yourself, but this takes a lot of time. The third way is to plunder and absorb other people's pupil power, and then enhance their own pupil power. Among these 3 methods, Rixianchin did not hesitate to choose the third one, which was the most likely to be completed by Rixianchin in a short period of time. Chapter 120. The face is gone. Where did the face come from? However, if you want to plunder your pupil power, you must have an object, like the kind of 3-hooked jade writing round eyes, which Rixianchin doesn't like at all. At least one needs a kaleidoscope to write round eyes to be favored by Rixianchin, and it is not something that 1 or 2 pairs of kaleidoscopes can solve if you want to enhance the power of Tensai's eyes. It is estimated that at least hundreds of pairs of kaleidoscopes are required to be effective. Even if the Uchiha family is sold, they will not be able to get so many kaleidoscopes. In addition to the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, the only way to win the reincarnation eye of Uchiha Madara, the sun shines in the eyes of Chen Xiangchen. He doesn't care whose reincarnation eye, as long as it is useful to him. It is his. For my immortality, it looks like I'm going to attack Madame Ban's eyes. Rixianchin looked at the Kingdom of Rain, his eyes flickering. Looking up and sweeping the sky, Rixianchin looked stunned and looked at the full moon in the night sky. Today is the night of the full moon. Compared with the moon a few years ago, the moon now has a gap and is not so round. Why did you forget this? Rixianchin patted his head. Looking at the moon in the night sky, Rixianchin seemed to see Tensizen beckoning to him. I don't know if the giant Tensizen has been created. If it is not created, I don't mind creating the giant Tensizen myself. Rixianchin said silently, the light in his eyes flowing. Taking a deep breath, for the sake of safety, Rixianchin did not choose to go to the moon now. A year later, when my physical strength is improved to the extreme, it will be the day I land on the moon. Cherish the time of this year. Rixianchin squinted at the moon in the sky, his eyes filled with murderous intent. If the giant Tensizen has been created, Rixianchin will it over. If the giant Tensizen has not been created, Rixianchin will kill and dig out the eye, and create the giant Tensizen himself. Regardless of whether the giant Tensigan is created or not, the Otsutsuki clan on the moon will be in great trouble, because they are being targeted by a terrifying demon king. The ruthless Rixianchin will not show mercy to the Otsutsuki clan on the moon. At that time, they will only have to destroy it. What are you looking at? The eyes are scaring people to death. Kushina reached out and pushed him. After Rixianchin was pushed a bit, he came back to his senses. The raging murderous aura in his eyes subsided and disappeared, and then he reached out and pinched Kushina's pretty nose. Don't pinch my nose. Kushina took Rixianchin's hand away and said, Mikoto made a late-night snack. Do you want to eat it? I was full by dinner time, but Mikoto made it. If I don't eat it, it would be a waste. Just say it if you want to eat it. Why do you go around in such a big circle? I really don't understand you. Kushina gave Rixianchin a contemptuous look. Rixianchin stretched out his hand and tapped Kushina's head lightly, and said with a chuckle, what do you know? I knew you would knock me on the head. Tsunade curled her lips in dissatisfaction, stretched out her hand and squeezed Rixianchin's waist. Rixianchin smiled helplessly. Tsunade really doesn't like to suffer at all. Walking into the room, Tsunade, Mikoto and Conan were already sitting at the table waiting. Rixianchin came over and sat down, then picked up the sake on the table, poured himself a glass, and took a sip, which was extremely sweet. What are you doing outside? Are you thinking of some pretty girl? Tsunade said jokingly. Hey, how did you know Tsunade? Rixianchin looked at Tsunade in shock. What? You really think of a little girl for my mother? Tsunade stood up and looked at Rixianchin aggressively. Mikoto, who was smiling softly at first, was enveloped in darkness at this time, and a pair of extremely terrifying eyes stared at Rixianchin tightly. Kushina, who was following Rixianchin, had her hair fluttering. Even Xiaonan, who was sitting at the table and didn't speak, couldn't help pouting, looking at Rixianchin dissatisfied. A drop of cold sweat broke out from Rixianchin's head, but he didn't expect a joke to be taken seriously. Of course the little girl I think is you, Rixianchin said with a smile on his face. Tsunade took back the momentum and sat down. Mikoto resumed her gentle smile again, as if nothing had happened. Kushina's fluttering hair also fell, and Xiaonan, who was sitting at the table, also showed a sweet smile. You can talk. Jixinai smiled. What does it mean to be able to talk? I don't want you to think about anyone. Do you still think that I can think of other women? Am I that kind of person? Rixiangchen said angrily. Tsunade's 3 daughters, including Xiaonan, all looked at Rixiangchen with contempt, making Rixiangchen a little embarrassed. Who are you? Don't you have a little bit of force in your heart? Tsunade looked at Rixiangchen with contempt. Chen, you are very lewd, and you have been a big pervert since you were a child. I remember that on the first day of school, you molested me. Mikoto told the story when she first entered school, which attracted all the girls to attack him for a while. Big pervert, he was already a perverted big pervert when he was a child. Jukes and I despised Rixiangchen. It turns out that Brother Chen has been a pervert since he was a child. It's really scary. Xiaonan showed a frightened expression. Facing the ridicule of the girls, Rixiangchen said nonchalantly, a man. Is there something wrong with sex? Is there something wrong with pervert? What's wrong with the pervert? What's wrong with the pervert? I'm proud. I'm proud. It's not just a pervert, this face is also unparalleled. Tsunade said speechlessly. The thickness of this face, I'm afraid he can't penetrate it. The strongest defense is not Chen's face, right? I'm thick-skinned, how can I not feel it? I don't even want my face. Where's the face? Rixiangchen said shamelessly. The girls are speechless now, looking at their cheeks as thick as a city wall. No, it's the shameless Rixiangchen. They can only say the word serving. Seeing the girls who admired him, Rixiangchen was elated. You actually said that I am thick-skinned, and I don't even want my face. How can you say that I am thick-skinned? The girls were even more speechless. They didn't understand what was so complacent about 2.2. Is it such a glorious thing to be shameless? Faces are important when you care, and useless garbage when you don't. Rixiangchen said with a smile. Anyway, we can't make you so shameless. Kushina complained. Eat, eat. If you don't do it again, I will eat it all. Rixiangchen reminded. I didn't do much supper at first, and Rixiangchen didn't delay eating when he was talking, and now a half of it has entered Rixiangchen's stomach. Tilda, you don't want to eat it, leave some for us. Kushina said angrily, looking at the snacks that had disappeared nearly half of the table. Rixiangchen laughed loudly and said, who told you to just talk? If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.